Well, good evening, and welcome to the April 2019 edition of Can We Chat Here? My name is Sheila Abram, and I am pleased to introduce my wonderful co-host on the opposite end of the United States, Miss Maxine Jones. Good morning.
Good evening, Facebook family and friends. Welcome to Can We Chat Here? And as we say on every Can We Chat Here? Can We Chat Here is about our dreams, our goals, our stories, and our journeys. Well, as always, we like to bring content and value to our Facebook family and friends, and we always have different topics. Well, tonight's topic is doctors in Karatbars International. And we have a very special guests who will be sharing their stories. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Gwendolyn Bonner, Dr. Sergio Razel, and Dr. Patrice Gordon. So welcome everyone to Can We Chat Here? It is such a privilege to have you on our show tonight. Thank you all for being our very special guest. And we have a lot to talk about. So what we're going to do is get started. We have questions that will be for each of you. So what we're going to do is start with the questions, and each one of you will get the same question, and then we'll go to the next one. So let's get started. So the first one is me. So tell us a little bit of background about yourselves and how long you've been a Karatbars affiliate. We'll start with you ladies first, Miss Dr. Gwendolyn Bonner.
Well, thank you. First and foremost, I want to thank God for allowing me to be here, as well as I want to give my condolences to Miss Shirley Ann Gober's family, as well as a young brother who was helping change the community, Mr. Nipsey Hussle. But most certainly, I want to thank Mr. Harold Sykes. As you know, he's my hero. And without him, we would not be here. So I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Ty Best, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Michael Delco. My background is very wide, but I'm a retired Postal Service employee, as Miss Maxine. And after I retired from the Postal Service, I went to school for holistic medicine, and I became a naturopathic doctor. And so I've always wanted to help people, and that's why I was in the field. So that's basically my background.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How long have you been a Karatbars affiliate?
I've been in Karatbars. July 17th will be 3 years for me. And I want to shout out to my sponsor, Mr. Sam Collins, as well.
All right. And when you said you wanted to help people, it made me think of how it ties in with Karatbars, because that's what we're about, helping people. So that's a win situation. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of people, they don't know that they're financially sick. So Karatbars tied right into my profession as being a holistic practitioner. I help people down the path of the path of wellness, and a lot of us are emotionally sick, physically sick, spiritually sick, Dr. Patrice, and also I didn't know that I knew we were suffering financially, but I didn't know that there was a way out. So Karatbars ties right into our financial health, so making us whole. And I love Karatbars for that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So who's up next? Dr. Patrice Gordon. Same question to you, sir. Tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been a Karatbars affiliate.
Miss Maxine Jones, Miss Abram, and my co-doctors. Yes, I'm Patrice Gordon. I'm a native Nashvilleian, born and raised here in Nashville, Tennessee. I left home at the age of 15 to go to a prestigious boarding school up in the Northeast in the Pennsylvania area. From there, I went to Lincoln University, where I got a bachelor's degree first and foremost from Lincoln, which is the original historically Black college and university in the United States. And Dr. Sergio Rosell is also an alumnus from our distinguished college. I got a bachelor's in Spanish. That's where it started. And then I got a triple minor in Mandarin Chinese, Russian, and public affairs.
Wow.
That led me to go to the prestigious Graduate School of Public and International Affairs at the University of Pittsburgh, where I got a Master's of Public and International Affairs, but also a certification in Asian Studies. And then that led me to Washington, D.C., where I worked in as an auditor with a top security clearance at the United States General Accounting Office during the last years that President George Bush Sr. was in the administration. I worked in the National Security and International Affairs Division, which led me to go all around the world. If you ever watch C-SPAN and you see those people that Congress is grilling, whenever you see those people that are being grilled, lean back because they don't know the answer to the question. And you got these little young whippersnappers leaning up to them, whispering in their ears, what were the reports and the conclusions? I was that guy as a GAO auditor. And then that led me to literally go and work in Africa for Africare, and then so many other things. I've lived in Africa, I've lived in Europe, Mexico, the Republic of China, but I ended up in Karatbars in 2013 from a phone call that came from a mutual friend of mine, and that changed my life, and I'm so excited. I will be celebrating my 6th year in Karatbars in October this year, and I have never gotten one gotcha. And I also have to add, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud and pleased to be a PhD. This is my 21st year in the Department of Languages, Literature, and Philosophy at Tennessee State University here in Nashville.
Wow.
Another amazing HBCU. And I am a doctor of philosophy. And so that's my distinction. And but I also am a spiritual doctor, right, Dr. Quinn? I'm the proud pastor of the City of David Church here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I've pastored the City of David for the last 26 years.
You are just awesome. And that we also call you the linguist because you speak several languages as well. So, wow. And you are in Karatbars International.
I'm in Karatbars.
Yes, indeed. Well, finally, Dr. Sergio Rosell. What a privilege to have you on Can We Chat here this evening, sir. Tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been an affiliate with Karatbars International.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Miss Maxine Jones, and to the distinguished panel, and of course, Miss Sheila Abram. It's a pleasure to be here amongst you giants in the industry and in Karatbars. I'm absolutely humbled to be here before this wonderful audience and this platform. I've been in Karatbars for about 4 years. It'll be 5 years in October. And my background was I grew up in Washington, D.C. and always worked and had jobs. In fact, I got my first job at the age of 8 and was very, very aggressive in the area of trying to, get a career. And of course, with all the folks in the D.C. area that work for the federal government, that was a career path that I could have taken and wanted to take, but I was really wanted to change the world. And I was working in the entertainment industry for many years. I worked for the Apollo Theater for about 11 years. I was a party promoter. And so I knew how to make money, but I went on to college at the great the Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, as Dr. Patrice Gordon just mentioned. And while I was there, I studied political science because I wanted to change the world. And while I was there, I witnessed a singer, a very famous singer who was speaking on international affairs and things of that sort. And she was speaking at the John F. Kennedy School of Political Science up at Harvard. And I got a little perturbed because I had these wonderful professors who were friends with Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela. And had they gone back to South Africa, they would have been assassinated. This was during apartheid. And it was, and so I was perturbed and I was scratching my head. And I said to one of my mentors, you know, I expressed my concern and my anger. And he told me that, you know, you got to understand, you have to do one of three things to really have a voice in this world and to make a change. And that is to either get famous, get wealthy, or do both. So I knew I couldn't control being famous, maybe infamous, but didn't want to do that. And so I went down the path of trying to figure out wealth. And I went to Clark Atlanta University. And while I was there studying international affairs and development and international business marketing, while I was there, I was introduced to the network marketing industry. And I went and spoke to Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, author of Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, and expressed to him, he's one of the professors, that I had been to, I've been exposed to this particular industry, this wonderful industry. And he said to me, you know what? It's a great industry. You can get rich, but you're going to work your backside off. And so that was my introduction into the world of networking. And I've been very, very fortunate to have been with many companies, but I learned so much. And what got my attention about the industry was that you didn't have to worry about politics or your age, your race, your gender, your religious affiliation, anything.
Right.
It was just about production. And if you produced, you know, that computer has no idea who you are. They just know that you are producing and you get rewarded for that. So that's my story. That's how I got started in the industry. And I was introduced to Karatbars, like I said, 4 years ago. And it made so much sense being in the industry for so long that I jumped all over it. And I'm so glad that I did.
We're glad you did too.
Yes.
Michelle Abram, next question is up to you.
I'm going to ask the next question, but before we do, Miss Maxine Jones, I know both you and I discussed this before we went on. We definitely want to send our prayers and condolences to the family of Miss Cheryl Ann Goldberg and Miss Tammy Morrison. We support you as well. So wait, ladies, you have a whole team and a whole family here that's ready to wrap our arms around you. So anyway, Dr. Rosell, yes, thank you, Maxine. I'm going to stay with you because you kind of already touched on the question that I was going to ask. You talked about how you was introduced in the network marketing, but can you tell us what's your why? Why? You are already, you know, on a professional path, a professional career. You're a doctor. Why network marketing? What was your why? What was your reason?
Well, you know, Ms. Abram, and that's a great question. And the reason I love this industry and why network marketing was because of the things I just kind of touched on. My why is like, I think most people's why. Most people are really, whether they know it or not, they're really looking for freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. And of course, some of the, I guess, toys that come along with it. But my why was family legacy, was wealth creation, was I have a wonderful, lovely mother that I get to spend every day with and have been able to for the last 4 years. I have a 20-year-old daughter who's in her sophomore year in college. And I grew up in DC during a time when there was a lot going on in this town. You know, it was the murder capital of the world. And you know, there was just so much going on in the community, and a lot of folks were caught up in an illegal lifestyle, and it all stemmed from them wanting the things I just talked about: time freedom, financial freedom, and a lot of them didn't think they had an option or a choice. And although there were a lot of government workers here, they made decent money, but they were all still going paycheck to paycheck. None of them could miss a paycheck. They were they were always looking at, well, what's going to happen? There's going to be foreclosure, you know? And I was part of what I was going to do was become a lawyer because I could help change the world. But there are a lot of broke lawyers in Washington. There are a lot of broke doctors all over. So for me, it was the ability to have power and to leverage my time and to be able to be international and the ability to, I guess, kind of get paid what I was worth because, you know, you never know. You can be one day, you can be the golden child, and the next day, you know, you're a dirty dog. And that happens. And I know the professionals that are on this stream watching this right now, they know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't want a brown nose, if you don't want to try to put on the good face, if you want to just get paid for doing what you do, then you need to get into entrepreneurial world. And there's no better vehicle in entrepreneurship than the field of networking. So that's why, Ms. Abram. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rozelle. Now I'm going to go over to you, Dr. Bonner.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, you know, with your level of expertise in your individual field, what made you, Dr. Bonner, take a look at network marketing? And what's your why? Why do it?
Okay, well, I was first introduced to network marketing back in the early 80s with Avon and Tupperware. And I didn't get involved, but I had some friends that were involved. You know, I supported their businesses. I purchased the items. But in the early 90s, as I was working in the Postal Service, there was a lot of co-workers with Avon. And I said, oh, I used to, you know, buy products. They said, well, you need to get into it, you know, have a little extra cash, you know. And I said, okay. So another lady, a coworker of mine, she was selling Mary Kay. And I said, I might as well get some more extra money. So I was doing Mary Kay and Avon at the same time. And just the interaction between people and helping people, like the ladies would buy the makeup because it would make them feel good. And I wanted to continue helping people feel good. And so as I acquired my license, my naturopathic license, I immediately had a wellness center where people would come in and I would help them. So I've always been, you know, in the helping the humanitarian, you know, field. But when you're in the wellness business, there's a lot of products that come, you know, juices and supplements and, you know, just all kind of things, gadgets and things. So they came with just wholesale distributorships. And so I didn't want to get too bombarded with products and supplements and things like that. And so I just went with the best, in my opinion. So when I had the best products, here came along Karatbars. And I said, okay, now this is going towards the financial health of our community and our people. And I said, well, it has to be incorporated into my practice. So helping people, especially my family, my loved ones, that is my why. To have them whole, health and wealth. And that's just the gist of it. I want everybody to be healthy and wealthy at the same time. And Karatbars is the answer.
One last question before I go to Dr. Patrice. You said along came Karatbars. Who introduced Karatbars to you?
This is quite funny. Sam Collins introduced me to Karatbars 5 years ago. And I was introducing him to a product that I had. And he showed me all this gold. And I'm like, what is all of this? And I said, well, I don't know about this gold. I said, let me ask my brother. My brother, he has his Juris Doctor degree, you know, and he has a degree in psychology. I said, you know what? I want you to check out this company. And he said, okay, Gwen. So he checked the company out. He said, Karatbars is legit. And I said, okay. But I still didn't get into it until like almost 3 years ago. I ran into Sam Collins again at my wellness center. And I said, Sam, you still into that gold business? He said, yeah. And I said, okay. So long story short, my mother, she was like, let's take a chance. I said, okay, let's do it. And so here we are. And I'm so ever grateful.
There we go. Now, Dr. Patrice Gordon, at your level of expertise and many linguistic skills, now, what made you take a look at network marketing, and what is your why?
Well, I've got my why is twofold. First of all, I thank God, even up to this point, I've lived a pretty good life. But when I got married and we started having our family, when I was a single guy, I literally traveled all around the world, working in other places, making more money than the local people in those same countries. And, by the time I settled down and got married and we started our family, I wanted my wife and my children to experience the same thing that I had. So I think that the main thing that has always driven me is desire to be a person that's free. I love freedom. I love being free. But, being an educator, you don't necessarily have time freedom. Being involved in the ministry, you don't necessarily have time freedom. And Dr. Sergio Rosell, my brother, he was right. There are a lot of broke doctors and broke lawyers, but there are also broke PhDs. In our field, we call them poor, helpless, and desperate PhDs. But I'm going to tell you, people will probably say I'm probably one of the happiest PhDs you'll find around because I have an out.
Yeah.
And, I first got involved in network marketing in 1988 when I borrowed $800 from my dad to join Reverend Pat Robertson with his American Benefits Plus network marketing company. That was my start. So that's what almost 40 years later, but I've been in a lot of companies since then. But when Karatbars came, that changed everything, because when I look at my lovely relationship with my wife, Lisa, when we got married, there were three things on our mind. Number one, our marriage. All of them start with the letter M. Number two, obviously, money. And then number three, ministry. But, the means to do that, once we started our marriage, life, like John Lennon said, life is what happens to you after you've made other plans. And life started just taking. And I remember in 2013, I lost 30% of my 401k just by doing what I was told to do.
Yes.
Someone say, ouch.
Yeah, ouch.
And I decided that from that moment, no longer would I ever want to be in a position where someone else controlled what would happen to my income. When Lisa and I joined Karatbars, our dream was restored and returned. And now we're back at that same stage of excitement, bliss, and joy of the prospect of whatever in marriage, in money, and in ministry.
I love it.
That's
what
one.
A couple. Yep.
Maxine, let me ask Dr. Patrice one little last question, and Dr. Rozelle. Dr. Patrice, who invited you into Karatbars?
A dear friend of mine who is a network marketing guru, okay? And I met him in church in the 1980s. He was one of the earliest friends of Les Brown, and his name is Zeke. Zeke Stewart called me one day, and he said, he was in retirement when he called me, living on Hilton Head in South Carolina. And he had driven down to Nashville because that year in October, they were having a big meeting in Nashville with Harold Seitz and all of the cast. He brought his whole staff from Stuttgart to the Gaylord Opryland Hotel. So Zeke calls me, and I'm down in Destin, Florida with Lisa and our youngest daughter. And he says, Patrice, I said, yeah, Zeke. He says, where are you? I said, I'm down here in Destin. He said, you mean you're not here at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel? I said, no, what's going on, man? He said, Karatbars is in town. I said, who? He said, Karatbars. And I literally said, Miss Sheila, stop right there, Zeke. I don't even really like carrots. I'm a meat potatoes type of guy, you know, and please don't share with me any nutritional products. He said, no, man, I mean carrot like 24 karat gold. The owner of the company, he loves Karatbars. No, he loves country music. And he wanted to bring his whole staff to the Gaylord Opryland in Nashville to experience Opryland in country music. Go figure.
And the rest is history. Now, Dr.
The rest
Rose.
is history. And if you ask Lisa, her story.
Dr. Roselle, who invited you into Karatbars?
There was a good friend of mine as well, a gentleman named Dexter Hurd. And Dexter Hurd was the youth director at my church, the youth director minister down in my church in Atlanta. And he had been in a business with me before. So I was his upline, actually. And he approached me and said, hey, Doc, hey, you got to take a look at this business. And I was doing okay. You know, I was kind of like, I'm actually okay. I appreciate it. I'm not really, you know, looking at anything else right now. And he says to me, well, I know you're not looking for anything else for yourself. He said, but what about the other people? And I said, well, I've always been doing it for other people as well. He said, but this is gold. And that stopped everything. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad back in the late 90s. And, you know, Robert Kiyosaki mentioned, you know, getting gold. I mean, he never really talked about how to get it, but it was enough for me to take a look at it. And lo and behold, I was actually exposed to it back in 2011 by a young teenager who had a notebook and a piece of paper. And he was trying to tell me, hey, you need to get in gold and we're going to get rich. And he didn't quite know how to introduce it to me. So I didn't really have much I didn't listen to him. But when Mr. Hurd contacted me and said, take a look at it, I took a look at it and I was like, oh yeah, this is the winner. This is the winner here. And so that's how I get Dexter Hurd.
Thank you. Maxine, I'll turn it over to you.
My next question is actually it's going to be twofold. Well, network marketing forces you to learn new skills. So what new skills would you say you've learned? And what are some of the challenges that you've faced as far as, you know, building your business? Let's start with you, Dr. Bonner.
Well, the new skills that I've learned that I had to sharpen up on is skills with people. When you talk to people, you have to get on their level and you have to be able to look inside of that person and see their potential and promise, because a lot of times they don't even know that some of them have leadership skills. Some might have just skills that are hidden within them. And so learning how to relate with people is the skills that I've really critiqued. But the skills, they force you to look at people's needs and wants and to help them to get and to reach their goals, be it, you know, health-wise, even now with Karatbars financially. A lot of people don't even know that they're financially sick, or, you know, some people don't even know that there's another way. And so Karatbars has allowed me to hone in on skills with people with their finances. And it's just a blessing and I enjoy it.
Thank you. And you're right. Sometimes people do not know because you can approach someone and they will tell you that they're okay.
Right.
Just
Right.
Dr. Patrice Gordon, same question to you. You know, what are some of the new skills that you've learned and what are some of the challenges you face in building your business?
I have to agree with Dr. Gwen. The main skill is people skills. And I thought I had a good handle on that in the past, but Karatbars caused me to level up
Right.
because um, had it not been our association for Mr. Ty Best, I don't think that I would have had near the success that we've enjoyed up to this point.
Mhm.
He's always talked about getting people to believe in themselves
Right.
and to believe in their own dream. And
Mhm.
like Boomer used to say, value your own opinion. And we're just so, and we're created like cookie cutter types through the educational process, unfortunately, and socialization in corporate America, and all of these things just making us robots. But the network marketing industry will literally force you to pay attention to other people
Yeah.
the same way you pay attention to yourself in the past. And then secondly, we can't even start with the technological skills that are coming into play
Yeah.
Yeah.
because, I was one of those people before Karatbars. I wasn't a real big Facebook person either. But
Mhm.
ever since I started tuning into Wealth Builders Worldwide, I think that I'm a Facebook fisherman now. Because I love throwing my rod out there and prospecting and reeling people in and helping to change lives. But now with the advent of the cryptocurrency space as well, learning about global markets,
Mhm.
reading books like never before, watching live streams of the likes of Mr. Michael Dalco and all of the other great leaders in Karatbars, and just the association with the moderators on the power call, starting with Miss Sheila Abram and Miss Maxine Jones. Are you serious? Oh my, I'm skilled now. Iron sharpens iron, baby. Iron sharpens iron.
I love when Mr. Ty Best says that iron sharpens iron. Well, Dr. Sergio Rosell, now you've been in the network marketing business quite a while. So what new skills have you learned lately, sir? And what
Well,
challenges have you come up against?
well, Ms. Jones, I have to concur with Dr. Bonner and Dr. Gordon because it's really it's a people business. And, you learn that it's really not how much you know. I mean, we say it in the industry all the time. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Right.
And although you may care and really be in the business because you care, you have to, I've learned to really make sure that people know. Don't just assume that people know. You have to make yourself available. You have to, I've learned that people really they don't really want you to do it either. They don't want it to be about how much you can do, but how well you can duplicate. And I'm almost ashamed to say that I've known that for so long, but it wasn't really until I was entrenched in Karatbars that I realized, hey, let the tools do the work. Utilize the system. Don't speak. Don't be so elaborate with your words, and be simple. Keep it simple. So that's one of the things I learned, and the biggest challenge has been. I'm going to have to echo what Dave just said. It's been, tapping that inner leader inside of the folks that we come across. Allowing everyone to really build on their strengths, and for us to kind of make sure that we lock arms with this volunteer army that we have. We've been so conditioned to have a job or to follow a blueprint of, go to school, get a good education, get a job, and then, Monday through Friday, you're going to put it in. You're going to get those hours in. I learned that the biggest challenge was being able to help people to see that there is a better way, and that better way is allowing ourselves to lock arms with one another and utilize each other's strengths to really excel. Right. So that was that was it.
I'm going to kind of just throw this question out there to get all three of your opinion on it. Now, you're doctors, you're different levels, you know, PhDs, MDs, but you're doctors. Can you help our viewers on Facebook understand why it's important for them to approach professionals? And I want to start with actually you this time, Dr. Patrice. Can you say why someone would approach a Dr. Patrice, a college professor, a PhD, and what method, just your opinion, like what would appeal to you if someone came to you in your area, on the college, in your class? How would they approach you, a professor with Karatbars?
The first thing I would look for would be authenticity. It doesn't make a difference. I've learned what a person's status is per se, but we have this amazing relationship with professional people. And, you know, during their lifetime, we run their names through the street, but after they die, we name the street after them. But I really believe that image rules a lot in our culture. Mm-hmm. And people, when they think in terms of doctors, they think of people who are, you know, obviously learned, knowledgeable, successful. But I've learned in Karatbars, when you're approaching anyone, it doesn't make a difference who they are. Every millionaire wants to do what? Make another $1 million. Every successful person wants to have another notch in their belt. So when I approach people, I come to them with the simplicity of the map, the massive action plan. I don't defer from it. I don't give professionals. I had this conversation today with someone that was another orphan that found out I was available to talk to them to how to start their business up 5 years later. Wow. And they say, well, let me tell you, I know a lot of business people. I know a lot of, I said, we're going to treat them the same way we treat everyone. Mm-hmm. And when someone approaches me, I'm looking for authenticity, and I'm looking for something that's simple, that's not going to take up all the extra time that I have. And then thirdly, I'm looking for something that I don't already know. And I think those three things.
Wow. Wow. I like that. Dr. Bonner, can you expound on that exact same question? You know, how would someone approach, you know, you, a holistic doctor, or just any type of, you know, medical or professional? What appeals to you?
Okay, well, first, I have to just piggyback on what Dr. Patrice said, as far as there's some broke PhDs out here. We have student loans. Yes. And so how I would approach like someone of my caliber or Dr. Patrice's caliber, I would ask them, do you look for more ways to earn some extra income? Mm-hmm. Or, wow, you're a PhD. I know that your student loans must be out of this world. Do you look for other ways to, you know, make more income to pay off your loans? But also, I have clients that are restaurant owners. They have establishments. And I ask them, well, how do you protect your assets? Like, how do you protect your money? Or how do you protect yourself? So when I mention gold, they're like, I can protect my money with gold. I said, yeah. And so that's, you know, you have to sort of like any professional, they're in the business to acquire money. And so that's what you have to have a conversation with them with about money and finances. And so they'll listen to you because, number one, because you're a professional as well, they know that you have integrity, and you just go from there.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dr. Rozelle, I want to come to you, and I would love to get your views on how would someone approach you, and, you know, what in your opinion, would work? What works with approaching professionals?
I'd love to answer that question. There was another part to that question that you mentioned as well. Can you repeat what that portion was? It was, well, it'll come back to me, but
yeah, because I forgot.
No, you mentioned, okay, well, when approaching, so you said, why is it important to talk to someone?
Okay, there you go.
Professional doctor. Okay, so I want to answer that question first.
Okay.
The reason why it's important is because you have to realize that people that produce, busy people, get a lot done. So folks that are achievers, in whatever field it is, they're the folks that can get the job done, and they're going to produce. So it's very important to talk to someone like that because they're used to accomplishing something. It shows that they started something and they finished it. So that's why it's so important to talk to them, because they also, especially a PhD, they've done a lot of schooling to get that done. So there's a lot of deferred gratification. So it's important because they can appreciate that this is not going to be overnight. They're going to have to learn, okay? So that's why it's important to talk to them. Now, the way someone should approach, I think myself, is that, those things that Dr. Bonner said, Dr. Gordon said, I totally agree, 100%. The thing that we need to remember in the world of marketing, any kind of marketing, is that the sweetest sound that any person ever hears is their own name. And that goes back to caring about what their needs are, what they want. So you want to ask the questions. You want to, have a relationship. We do this thing called form in our industry. We talk about family, occupation, recreation, money. So you have a conversation with someone about those things, get to know them, and if you already know them, still talk about those things. And not going to get into any 5-and-5 training, anything like that, yeah. But you do want to make sure it all goes back to the other person, finding trigger points or pain points. People are motivated by, they're motivated by winning, but the fear of loss is a much stronger emotion than the fear of succeeding or the thrill of succeeding. So if you can, ask the right questions and be sincere, like Dr. Patrice said, but also, have the facts and just have the numbers. And so approach me with that, kind of find out, what's going on with me? What am I looking for? And do I keep my options open? Believe it or not, folks, that really does work with anybody. I don't care what your, you can foster a relationship with anyone on any level by asking that question and then listening. So once you listen, then you have the opportunity to introduce them to some information or a tool. And if you're somebody who may be intimidated by what we call a red or something like that, that's even more reason to be able to bring in some help. Call in a Dr. Bond or a Dr. Gordon, Maxine Jones, or Miss Sheila Abram.
Dr. Rozelle.
Oh, yeah. You do okay if you call me in. But absolutely. So yes, ma'am. That's those are my answers.
You know what, Maxine, can you ask the last question for you?
Okay. You want it to be okay. I'm going to ask quickly, just answer this question for each one of you, because we want to wrap it up. Ms. Abram has training at 10. But how has Karatbars changed your life? How has it changed your life? Let's start with you, Dr. Bonner. How has it changed your life?
Well, first and foremost, ladies, I have never saved gold ever before in my life. And it feels pretty good. Not only have I saved gold, my mother, she is 85 years old, and she saves more gold than I do. And just to see the joy on her face when she sees that FedEx truck come, and she has her gold, and she's also sharing it with her children and her grandchildren. It has just changed my whole family's financial trajectory. And I'm just so thankful to Karatbars. So that's how it has changed my life.
Thank you so much. Dr. Patrice Gordon, same question for you, sir.
You know, you always think you have an answer, and then someone steals your answer. I'm telling you, Dr. Gwen must be my twin because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
You know,
You made the rhyme, but it just slipped out that time, Dr. Patrice.
well, look at it like this. My stepmother, 83 years young, she gets gold every week. She's excited about it. And she calls me over to her house, and I know when I get that phone call, I have to call Lisa and say, honey, this is going to be another hour and a half. I'll be home for dinner. Believe. Got to stop by mom's house. I got to help her to send out. But anyway, it's changed my life because it has restored my dream. It restored my dream. I mean, I've always been a dreamer. I remember when Lisa first met me, she saw a map I had on the wall where it was talking about global outreach. And Karatbars gives me global outreach.
Wow.
And my doctor not discouraged me from going to Dubai because of what was going on with my little throat and all this stuff. I would have been in Dubai.
I know.
Karatbars will make you a global citizen just like that. That's what Mr. Michael Dalco has been sharing with us, you know, but it gave me my dream back to travel the world. And I look at it like this, you know, a couple of years from now, I see myself, because there are like 55 countries that we have not entered into yet. I see Patrice Gordon 2 years from now going from country to country with wealth building events, telling people how to get free using the Karatbars system.
Amen.
Yes, jet setter. Dr. Sergio Rosell, same question to you, sir.
The way it has changed my life is I have been able to, again, be here in Washington, D.C. with Wonder Woman and spend every day with her. But it's also allowed me to see for the first time that every single person that I touched in this business, that we touched, every single person increases their net worth by just participating. Everybody wins with every single transaction that they do here with Karatbars. You know, I've been in nutritional companies where people, it benefited their health. You know, they took the products, and guess what? You know, sometimes it got to the point where they stopped taking it because of the fact that they wanted to keep their cable on or something like that. In this scenario, you cannot lose with this company. It is a financial growth. It's a transaction that is a win every single time you participate. And so it's great to see everyone win for the first time in anything I've ever been in. Everybody wins. So it's changed my life in that way and in that manner. So I'm absolutely thrilled about that.
Thank you so much. There is something about gold that absolutely transforms your whole life.
Absolutely.
You know, I want to just interject one quick thought before we close out. You know, Dr. Rosell, he is, you know, part of that sandwich generation. And a lot of us, we get in that sandwich generation from time to time. I mean, my grandfather passed last January of 2018, but I was in that sandwich generation to where we are caring for our beloved mothers, fathers, grandparents. And one of the things that Karatbars helped me do, it helped me pay for his boarding care. It definitely did that. It helped the board. I mean, and Dr. Rosell, he's caring for his mother, but it's also, you know, you express this, what a phenomenal life that you're now looking at with what you're making in Karatbars, to where you can expose your mother to some really beautiful living arrangements. And that's something that is just, people don't know. Part of the reason we don't want to put our parents in some type of assisted living facility is we go in these facilities and we realize, well, I wouldn't want to be put here. Right. But they cost a lot of money.
Right.
And then when you find that one, because I found this one, I walked in it for my grandfather, and I said, now I want to live here. You know, but you have to have the money, and a lot of people don't have the money for that. So I know, Dr. Rozelle, just one quick thought on, now having the money to pay for care of our elderly, what that means to you.
And to be able to spend the time with his mom.
Right. Being able to spend time with, so Wonder Woman's sitting right here right now. I think she's proud of me. I don't know. Sometimes she never really says it, but I think she's proud of me. Every day she's asking me, well, who can I talk to get into business? And she says she has more gold than, we know 99% of the planet. So, because only 1% of the planet even owns gold. But no, it's, again, it goes back to time freedom, and financial freedom, because why do we want the freedom? To be able to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, and with whom we want to do it with. And, I have friends that they just really don't know. They don't know what they're going to do. And I'm here. I'm like, we're trying to tell you, here it is. And, unfortunately, very fortunately, we're very compliant here at Karatbars International. So if you're watching this stream and somebody invited you on here, I want you to know that these lovely folks, can't tell you how well they're doing. But let me be the first to tell you, they are doing extremely well. And I hope I didn't embarrass anybody on here. But understand something. Not only, but don't get any bright ideas. Just because they got gold doesn't mean they don't have other metal like lead. So I'm just going to leave that right there.
Well, Maxine, can you close us out? Because it's almost the top of the hour, and I have new affiliate orientation.
Yes, she does. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for being on Can We Chat here. It's been our honor and our pleasure to have you here. And we want to tell all of our Facebook family and friends to tune in next month. It's always the first Monday of the month at 6 p.m. Pacific time and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it. And if you have any suggestions as far as a topic, you can send them to canwechathere.info. So I want to thank everyone for being on the panel tonight. We love you guys. And look at that, doctors in Karatbars. How cool is that? How cool is that?
And just real quick before I flip the off switch, Dr. Rozelle has a I don't know, do you live stream on Facebook, Dr. Rozelle, your Gold Brick Show? Just do a quick
the Gold Brick Show is every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so everybody, please feel free to join in. You can call in and we have a conversation. Thank you for that opportunity, Ms. Abram. And can I say my tagline before we go?
Yes, you sure can.
Absolutely. So whoever's listening here, you have a choice in your life, a decision to make. You can get anywhere you want to get in life. So please always remember that success is voluntary and you deserve it.
You
deserve it.
Well, yes, you do.
We will see you next month on Can We Chat Here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Haven. Thank you, Ms.
Let's go, family.